Saraphina had called her father Aldrich about some car title paperwork. Nothing major, just another errand she quietly handled for him like she always did. He said he'd check a folder in the garage and put the phone down. He didn't hang up, just left it on the coffee table. Maybe he didn't even notice at first. It was silence, then footsteps, a couch creaked, and then his voice. "She's a burden," he said, clear and cold like it was just a fact. "She's a disappointment. Should have never been born." Saraphina didn't move at first. She just sat there, phone pressed against her ear like a child listening at a closed door. He wasn't angry. That's what got her. He wasn't yelling or venting, he was just talking. To her mother, Cordelia, she thought. Maybe to himself. It didn't matter. The words landed the same way, a burden, a disappointment. For 6 years she'd been covering their mortgage shortfalls, credit card debt, and utility bills. They never told anyone about it, quietly, without a single demand, without ever throwing it in their faces. Even that month she'd sent $2,100 to cover their insurance premiums because Aldrich's back injury meant he couldn't work right now. And yet here she was, the burden, the accident that should have been avoided. Saraphina didn't hang up. She just let the call run long past the point they realized it was still connected. She heard the microwave beep, laughter in the background, casual domestic peace, as if they hadn't just gutted their only daughter from the inside out. When the call finally cut off, whether he noticed or the battery died, she didn't cry. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just sat there, staring at the window like it might have an answer. She didn't know how long she was frozen like that. Time doesn't work the same when everything inside you just stops. The next day Saraphina went to the bank. Not for revenge. Not yet. Just to check things. The mortgage on her luxury property was nearly paid off. The last appraisal put it at $870,000. She had options. Quiet power. No one knew it but her. She booked a meeting with her real estate lawyer and asked about transfer options, title shifts, privacy protocols. She didn't even flinch when he told her how much she'd net from a private cash sale. Every part of it felt mechanical, like she was assembling a machine she didn't fully understand yet, but she knew she had to finish building it. Saraphina didn't tell anyone. Not her friends. Not her coworkers. Definitely not her family. She went to work, smiled at neighbors, and sent the usual, "Have a great trip," text when her parents flew off to Europe for their vacation, a trip she'd helped them afford, by the way, when they were too stretched after refinancing the house last fall. Then she packed her things. All of them. Quietly and efficiently. She sold the house, transferred the deed, changed all forwarding addresses, and disappeared. Let them smile in Rome, sip wine in Lisbon, pose in front of the Eiffel Tower. Let them enjoy every moment, until the key didn't fit. Until they saw the sticky note on the door. Surprise. This is what a burden can do. Saraphina didn't always think of herself as useful. That came later. First she was just the responsible one, the planner, the fixer. The daughter who paid attention, who never missed a bill, a birthday, a deadline. She made her own way, kept her head down, made good money, and asked for nothing. At first she thought that was enough. They didn't ask her for much, not directly. It started with things like, "Your dad's back is acting up again, could you spot the water bill this month?" Or, "Your brother Lysander's tuition deadline snuck up on us, we'll pay you back, of course." But they never did. And eventually they stopped pretending. When they needed $1,800 for new windows after the storm, she sent it. When their car broke down and they called in a panic from the side of the road, she covered the repairs. When their property taxes went overdue and Cordelia cried on the phone, Saraphina wired the money the same day. No questions, no complaints, just support. Then came the joint accounts. A family card for emergencies only. Her name on their mortgage, just temporarily, to help with refinancing. Then she noticed her credit score dropping quietly, slowly, like a bruise spreading under skin. She confronted them once about a weird charge from a luxury furniture store. Aldrich laughed and said, "We thought you wouldn't mind, you don't spend on yourself anyway." Cordelia just said it was for the house. "It's yours too." Technically. Technically. When her uncle Caspian had surgery, she paid half the hospital bill, without even being asked. They sent her the invoice, assuming she'd just handle it. She did. When her sister Oilia's wedding needed a venue deposit, they called it a family gift from you. That one wasn't even a conversation, just a charge that showed up on her bank app at 3 a.m. She stared at the number, $6,700, and told herself it was fine. Because they'd do the same for her, right? But no one ever did. She moved twice in 3 years, and not one of them lifted a box. When she got bronchitis and asked Cordelia if she could bring soup, her mother said she was too tired from yoga. When her birthday came, they texted a gift, a glitter cupcake emoji, and hope it's a good one. No call. No visit. But when their birthdays rolled around, she was expected to show up with flowers, gifts, reservations. When she forgot once, she got cold silence from Cordelia for 3 weeks. Saraphina told herself it wasn't worth fighting over. That some people just express care differently. That maybe she wasn't being generous enough. She gave more. She worked harder. She made sure there was always enough in the account. She did the math, $2,100 a month. Every month. For 6 years. That's $151,200. But she didn't think about it like that. Not until that call. She's a burden. Oh wait, something that made their lives worse just by existing. She replayed it every night that week. She could hear the clink of his coffee mug, the rustle of the newspaper, the sigh in Cordelia's voice as she agreed. We should have sent her away when she turned 18. They were planning their trip to Europe while she sat in a rental apartment she paid for in cash so she could transfer the property deed without noise. She kept every email from the agent, every wire confirmation, every screenshot. The house she bought, her dream home, was now empty. All furniture donated. All accounts closed. Her name taken off every shared account, one by one. Every last thread severed. But she still hadn't told them. Because she wanted them to feel it. That moment came faster than she expected. A week later she got a text from Oilia. You still covering mom's therapy this month, right? No, hi, no, how are you? Just the same assumption, the same entitlement. Seraphina replied, of course. Then opened the portal and cancelled the payment permanently. That weekend they posted photos from Paris. Aldrich smiling under the Eiffel Tower, Cordelia in a beret holding wine. Caption, still living the dream. She watched the video twice, saw the glint of the ring on her mother's finger, the one she bought for their 35th anniversary. They never said thank you, just wore it like it was always there. She logged out and didn't check again. The final transfer had gone through. The new owners of her property had the keys. She left nothing behind, not a single photo, not a fork, not even a coat hanger, just a sticky note on the front door, and a surprise because she wasn't their bank anymore, she wasn't their fixer, she wasn't even family, she was the storm they never saw coming. They got back from Europe on a Thursday. Seraphina knew the date. She'd been tracking their return like a meteorologist watches a coming storm, not with fear but with quiet precision. Their last Instagram post was a boomerang of wine glasses clinking under Venetian chandeliers. Cordelia captioned it, "Family first always." She didn't even flinch. The house was already gone, but they didn't know that yet. They landed smiling and sunburned, wheeling their matching luggage through customs, thinking the world was still the same, that she was still where they left her, loyal, quiet, useful. They probably thought they'd come home to their driveway, step out of the Uber and walk back into the life she'd funded for 6 years. Except the driveway was empty, no car, no lights, and when they pulled out their keys they didn't fit. Seraphina pictured it in full color, Aldrich frowning at the lock, jiggling it like that would change physics, Cordelia trying hers next, then both of them standing there in silence waiting for something to make sense until they saw the sticky note taped to the front door, yellow, cheap, unmistakable black Sharpie, black letters. Surprise, this is what a burden can do. She didn't leave her name, didn't need to. The mailbox was gone too, removed, dismantled the alarm system, deactivated the utilities, transferred the HOA, notified the family, portraits on the hallway wall gone, the monogram towels that she bought them last Christmas donated. Their home is where the heart is sign in the trash. Everything was clean, sterile, like they never lived there, like she'd erased the last remnants of their comfort while they were busy drinking Bordeaux and playing European royalty. And she had not to punish them, that would imply emotion. She did it because clarity had finally arrived. She wasn't seeking payback, she was simply closing a chapter that had quietly ended long ago. They called, of course, dozens of times. At first it was confusion. Hey, we're locked out, can you check with the alarm company? Then is the garage code changed? Then panic, where's the furniture? Why isn't the Wi-Fi working? Why is your number disconnected? Seraphina didn't answer. By midnight they'd called every sibling, every cousin. They thought maybe it was a mistake, a robbery, a prank, but then Cordelia called her work number, the one no one uses, and left a voicemail in that broken glass voice she saves for real emergencies. Please just tell us what's going on. We're at a hotel, the house is it's empty. The neighbor said a moving truck came last week. Was that you? Did something happen? Yes, something happened. She heard them. Seraphina kept that voicemail. She listened to it, sometimes not out of joy, there's no pleasure in this, but as a reminder that even after calling her a burden, even after draining her bank account and erasing her from every family moment that mattered, they still expected help. That's what cracked her, that's what made everything snap. The moment she realized they would never change, that no matter how much she gave, how many bills she paid, how many birthdays she remembered, she would always be optional, useful, expendable. They cried the loudest when the money disappeared, not when she did. She gave them 6 years of quiet loyalty. They gave her silence and expectation, a burden, a disappointment, an accident that survived, so she left them exactly what they earned, nothing. The fallout started the next morning. By 7:13 a.m. she had 42 missed calls. Cordelia left 3 voicemails in a row, each one more desperate than the last. The first was confusion, the second panic, the third a full-blown breakdown. We just need to talk, please just tell us what you did. Seraphina didn't reply. Instead she logged into the final banking portal, the one they forgot she had access to, the joint savings account she had once created just in case of emergency. It still had $12,000 in it, mostly from her. She clicked once, transferred it to a private trust, closed the account, gone. Then she went after the insurance. The house they used to live in, she still had the policy in her name. They never changed it over, so she canceled it, notified the company that the property had been sold. She watched the confirmation email hit her inbox with a small detached sense of completion. One more tie cut, one less lie holding them together. That afternoon Aldrich emailed her a long pathetic thing with no subject line, just 600 words of half blame, half begging. He said he didn't mean what she heard, that she misunderstood, that burden was about the situation, not about her. Then he asked if she could at least help them find a lawyer to look into what happened with the house, said the new owners had changed the locks illegally. She almost laughed. Illegally? They had no idea the property hadn't been in their names for over a year. She transferred the title to a shell trust she'd built with her accountant, the same trust that now owned the LLC that sold the house in cash. It was layered, secure, untouchable. They weren't just locked out of a house, she had finally stepped away from the dynamic. By day 3 Oilia chimed in, the same one who used to send her screenshots of her Venmo requests with, "You got it right." Like it was a joke, she texted, "You really going to do this to Mom and Dad? After everything they've done?" Seraphina read it twice. Everything they've done. That line stayed in her head like static, like white noise that wouldn't shut off. Oilia meant the dinners she wasn't invited to, the holidays she paid for but watched from her couch, the therapy she covered so Cordelia could work through stress caused by her existence. She meant all of it, all the erasure, all the exploitation wrapped up in one casual guilt trip. She didn't respond. Instead she filed the final motion, the estate planning documents she'd drawn up 2 months ago, the ones that removed her family from every emergency contact, medical directive and asset designation. She submitted them that Friday. By Monday they were legally locked out of everything. No more accounts in their name, no more fallback plan. They didn't lose a house, they lost their favorite crutch, and maybe she'd enabled that for too long, thinking she was helping when she was really just delaying the inevitable. She called the storage unit to the one she'd been quietly paying for, full of their keepsakes and heirlooms and boxes they swore they'd come pick up soon. She gave them 30 days notice, no extension, no warning. A legal eviction letter was delivered on Tuesday. They messaged the unit company in a panic, said it was a mistake, it wasn't. Saraphina sold every piece of furniture she bought for them, the couch, the antique sideboard, even the coffee machine they used to joke was too fancy for them, the one they insisted on taking anyway. She posted it all online, watched the listings disappear one by one, every item gone within 2 days, and when the PayPal balance cleared she made one last transfer to herself. No note, no message, just peace. The group chat finally went silent. No more passive-aggressive memes, no more attempts at manipulation disguised as jokes, just silence. Cordelia's last post was an old photo of them when Saraphina was 8 with a caption that ended, "You always were so sensitive." It didn't sting, it confirmed everything, because she wasn't sensitive, she was done. They never got the sticky note back. They tried, of course, drove back 3 days later, this time with a locksmith, but by then the locks had been replaced, the mailbox removed, the ownership sealed behind corporate filings they couldn't untangle if they tried. The locksmith refused to break entry, said the deed was in another name. They laughed in silence. Saraphina watched it happen, not from a distance, not from another country or across a screen, from 2 blocks away in a car they didn't recognize, engine off, parked beneath a dying elm tree. She watched her parents step out of that Uber-like royalty, returning to a kingdom that didn't want them anymore. Aldrich looked older, smaller. Cordelia didn't speak, she just stood on the porch staring at the door like it might open out of guilt. It didn't. They left 10 minutes later. The house stood quiet, so did she. That silence, final, absolute, was the real ending. No grand confrontation, no fight in the driveway, no screaming match about family or forgiveness, just the realization that they'd lost access to the only person who ever kept them afloat. They didn't cry because they missed her, they cried because the money was gone, they cried because the safety net had been cut and burned, and to be fair, that net was real. She'd built it out of care, but care without respect eventually collapses. They cried because the backup plan disappeared, and the burden was the only one who ever had a plan, and she made sure they felt every inch of the absence. Saraphina deleted the family group chats, all of them, removed herself from every thread, every shared photo album, every Google Calendar they once used to schedule holidays she wasn't invited to. She didn't leave a message, just silence. A few days later she got a letter, not handwritten, not even signed, just a folded sheet from a paralegal, something about misunderstandings and potential estate clarification. She didn't open it, just dropped it in the shredder and went back to her tea. 2 days after that her old neighbor texted, "Your parents came by again." Looked confused, just stood in the driveway confused, like this wasn't years in the making, like this wasn't earned. She blocked the number. They stopped trying to call after the second week. She thinks the realization finally sank in, not just that they'd lost access to the house, but that they'd lost access to her entirely. Oilia tried last, texted from a different number. The message was short. "Are you really never going to speak to us again?" No greeting, no apology, just disbelief, like it was unthinkable that she could exist without them. Saraphina didn't respond. Instead she went for a walk. The air was cool that evening, sharp with the scent of rain still sitting in the grass. She walked past stores she used to run errands in for them, the pharmacy where she picked up Cordelia's prescriptions, the bakery where she bought cakes. No one thanked her, for they were all just buildings now, nothing attached, no weight, no debt. She breathed. It felt like the first breath in years. There's something people never understand about being the quiet one, the helper, the one who never makes waves. They think you'll keep doing it forever. They think silence means permission. They think absence of complaint is agreement, but silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's planning. And now they rent a condo on the edge of town. She saw it listed once when she was apartment hunting a year ago. Cheap flooring, peeling paint, street-facing windows with no light. She wonders if they ever look out and wonder where it all went. She wonders if they remember that night, the sticky note, "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." They don't post much anymore. Cordelia used to fill her feed with brunches and spa days and family first captions. Now it's just quiet reshared quotes. "Don't burn bridges." One said they don't know, the bridge was never theirs, they were just standing on it while she built the road underneath, and when she walked away the whole thing fell. Her bank is quiet now, no withdrawals. She doesn't remember authorizing, no auto payments for electric bills she never used, no Venmo pings from people who only say hi when rent is due. The money she used to send out like blood pumping from a weak heart, it's still there, stacking, growing, and used. Mine. She moved into a new place, not bigger, not louder, just hers. Every lamp, every curtain, every chair chosen by her for her. No guilt woven into the walls, no reminders of what she gave away without thanks, just quiet, just space, just ownership. Seraphina sleeps more now, deeper. Her dreams don't wake her anymore with thoughts like, did I forget to transfer the money, or will she be mad if I say no? Those voices are gone, and the space they left behind is beautiful. Some nights she still hears the call, the one he forgot to hang up. She's a burden, a disappointment, should have never been born, but now she lets the words echo. She doesn't fight them, doesn't explain them away, doesn't defend herself to ghosts. She just listens, and then she remembers that house that was hers, that silence also hers, that note final, and she goes back to sleep. Hi besties, thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Bye.